Okay, it's a nice little California park. And the first command of God to a Jew, to a spiritual seeker, was Abraham. Abraham transformed this world in so many ways. In fact, I think it was Time that did a history of the world. The greatest influence on this world was Abraham. I'm not going to speak about all the many different things. The idea of one God, the idea of morality, the idea of goodness and kindness. In any event, what was the first message that God gave to a Jew, a spiritual seeker? And anybody, the Baal Shem Tov calls a Jew a spiritual warrior. That's our job in this world, to be a spiritual warrior, to fight the darkness of the Satan, of the Yetzer Hara, of the darkness which tries to capture our soul and make us into evil and malicious people. And it's very real. Look how many people fall. So the only way, and I've been studying Jewish mysticism for many years. I've written over 20 books and 80,000 blogs. I just say that to give some credibility. I have a little bit of knowledge in this subject. In fact, it's about the only subject I have some knowledge in. The only way we can beat the Satan is by doing exactly what God told Abraham. If you want to be a good person, a spiritual person, a person that's dedicated to higher causes, not lower causes, and certainly not one that's going to get sucked in like this current liberal insanity. It's not really liberalism, it's radicalism. It's like the Nazis. They came up with a crazy idea, and Hitler said, lucky for leaders that people don't think. Because people, this is part of our instinct, we want to be part of a group. So we actually give up, as Freud, who with all his craziness was pretty intelligent, he says the masses behave, I don't want to use the word, but they behave like infantile regression, just like an infant will basically believe whatever its parents say. So also when the masses, when you are part of a group, instead of thinking, you begin to follow because you don't want to be separate from your group. The instincts take over the mind. Every time we do something stupid, whether it's drugs or even eating something we shouldn't or saying something we shouldn't, it's because the instinct has overtaken the mind. So what does that mean? Is the mind more powerful than the instinct? If I am walking a dog, if the dog is stronger, if the dog is a bear, he can easily be pulling me. So it's true, my mind has better direction, but my instincts are more powerful than the mind. It can pull the mind in the direction it desires. And just like any drug addict, ask them, they're not a drug addict. No, not at all. They can stop whenever they want to stop. It's their choosing to do this. But why don't they stop? The answer is because the addiction, the desire is stronger than their conviction. And that's all we have in life. We have one of the greatest experts. He wrote over 80 books, mainly on self-esteem and addiction. And his name was Rabbi Abraham Dr. Twersky. And he said, we're all addicts. We're born addicts. Why? Because we're born to desire pleasure. Something gives us pleasure, then that thing causes us to try it again. If our convictions are stronger than our addictions, we can save our soul. And there's only one way to make your convictions stronger than your addictions. And that is through an absolute gratitude to God. You have to know that everything in this world, it's like a video game. He makes it all the time. It's not the once upon a time God made the world. This second, He's making the world as we speak. And when you can understand that everything comes from Him and you're grateful for everything, then you're humble. And when you're humble, you're willing to obey a higher authority, because when we're arrogant, we don't even realize we're arrogant, but when we think we're like top cheese, what happens is we don't want to listen to anyone. Our instincts grab a hold. So here's the equation. Arrogance equals instincts that gone wild. Humility equals the mind can control. And the way to have humility is first of all through gratitude, and also realizing the only reason you were made by God is to serve Him, to follow Him. And that's why God said, Lech Lecha, if you wish to discover your highest potential. You have to abandon all the drugs